It's Opex. You're tuned into the mind of Opex. You want to look at the body of Opex? Doing well. Very happy in my life. It's sunny in the sunshine state. How are you guys doing? Got a quick video for you today because I don't want to make this a long video. The world's your oyster. What you want in life is up to you. What you tolerate in life is up to you. Whether that's relationships, your job, whatever. You control everything. Everything. When you're in a bad mood, you might not see how that affects others. But like the analogy that I've always said, two guys at a gas station. One guy's happy, one guy's sad, regardless of what's going on in their life. They're going through the same job right now. Now, if you're having the same fucking job right now, what difference in those personalities, what difference in the happiness is between the two cashiers? One cashier is very happy, regardless of what's going on. They chose to be happy. And their happiness is contagious, kind of like yawns. When you're happy, or if the guy behind the gas station's happy, and they come up to you, you come up to them, and they're smiling. Hi, sir, how you doing? And they're smiling, they're happy, they're ready to engage. Maybe they have their eyes little cute little wrinkle things because you can tell that they're in a good mood. These little things are contagious. It's under a frequency in which that you align into the vibration, whether that's happy, sad, whatever. But if this person's happy and you go up to that person, you're going to feel a little bit better minimally from that interaction. But then you go up to the other one instead. You see two people in line, or two lines. One line to the happy person, one line to the shitty person. Now you're in the shitty person line and you're like, I'm in the wrong line. This person's slow. This person's quick to react. This person's quick to grunt and complain. Can I get a pack of Newport 100s? The guy in front of me. And the guy goes, you fucking smokers. Let me see your ID. You're getting this vibration and frequency now in you. In fact, the whole store feels that, whether they're an empath or not, whether they understand it or not. They are feeling a certain way now because of how your frequency, you allow to emit into the environment. Which is now, I met this person and it's like, hey, how's it going? And then they're like, it's going. And you're like, dude, I didn't do shit to you, right? Like, you're making me feel a certain way now. Well, whether that person's happy or sad, it's going to affect you. But then again, you're the master of your own reality. You can allow that to affect you or not, depending on how you understand how you master the world. But there's two people, happy, sad. You're making a choice to be this. Doesn't matter what's going on in your home life. If that's replaying in your mind and that's on the forefront, that frequency is going to emit out into others, your environment, etc. And the way that you can stop that is to say, I choose to be happy. I choose to treat this person with respect. I'm going to choose, because when you're choosing these things, it doesn't matter what happened at home anymore. You have altered your frequency. And when you alter your frequency into better terms, you're going to help out the world around you. Be the light of the world instead of the darkness. A lot of people will tell you, like, when you're smiling, when you're in a good mood, they'll come up to you and be like, hey, something's different about you. You look good. You look healthy, And they feel a certain way when you are that. So which are you going to choose to be, the sad person or the happy person? It does, irregardless of what happened. Irregardless of what you woke up that morning and you had to go to work and your wife was on the shitter, and I'm just throwing an example out there, and then she comes out and she's in a bad mood and she's telling you, last week I didn't like this, blah, 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 and now you're dealing with that in the morning? How is that going to affect you when you go to work? If you're not taking control of your frequency and what you're emitting out into the universe, if you're not controlling that, you're going to be a victim to those around you. To those who are smiling, you are just going to smile back because you have no control. Those that are sad, you're going to be like, dude, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done that. And then you're going to react and align to that frequency. And when you're aligning to frequency from others, that means that those others are controlling you. Do you want to be weak or do you want to be strong? Do you want to be happy or do you want to be sad? You're the key to whatever it is in life that you want. You are the master. Okay, so your brain, I made a video talking about like filing cabinets or filing managers for your brain, for your information, for your knowledge. You have a filing cabinet on how you understand the universe. Whether you are open to new information or not is going to alter what information you receive and what information that you don't. If you are a Christian and you're not open-minded, that Muslim who's telling you about, certain things like don't shave your beard or whatever it may be, going to Mecca and whatever it may be, you're not going to listen to that person and you're not going to understand that information. Therefore, you are going to be enemies to that person and you're going to treat them differently. Now, if you are open-minded, it doesn't matter what race, color, creed, doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter nothing. Because you're going to align to that person to understand that person regardless of what they say or think or who they are or look like or whatever. Your mind only can access new information if you allow it. Your brain will stop information based on your ego, based on how you understand the world, based on what you accept, how open-minded you are, etc. And that file management, you can control. You can control on how you place things in your mind. Going back to that video, I'll reiterate a little bit from that video. You have fantasy category, you have a reality category, and then you have a category that is maybe, it could be not. There's a potential for it to be fake, but right now I'm going to keep it, fact. Well, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You should have fact over here, fiction over here, and then a maybe over here. Or it could be both, or depending on variables, or whatever. Now, I hope this isn't too deep, because I'm talking semi-fast for this information. Your brain can only access information based on what you will allow it to understand. Your brain will shut off. Let's say there's a web. There's a web of information, an endless ether of information and knowledge. And that ether, let's say it's a web, right? You have one information and it branches off this more information and more potentials, and then it branches off here and branches off here, and then you have information up here that you would have never been able to access if down here you weren't open-minded, or you weren't egotistical, or you weren't negating information. Your mind, your brain negates information every single day. If you believe in spirits and ghosts and shit like that, if you believe in ghosts, when you see any little thing, you're going to say that was a ghost. Because that's how your brain interprets it. And you're reducing the access to other variables or other information. Because here, where this one information goes into your brain, I felt a wind behind me, but there's no draft in here, so it's got to be a ghost, right? Your brain will interpret this it's a hallucination, by the way. Your brain will hallucinate how it sees reality based on what you're allowing it to understand. Because if right here you said to yourself, ghosts exist and there's no other reason for that, your brain will never even consider other information. So this one idea, thought, information goes up, and then it's about to branch out to a trillion different things, different variables, understandings, etc. But you stopped it right there and said it has to be that ghost. It's got to be a ghost or spirit. Well, what happens to the other person who doesn't believe in ghosts and spirit? And same thing, that information comes up, and right when it's about to branch off to limitless potential and understandings, you stop it because you don't believe in ghosts. You don't believe in spirits, so it's got to be wind. You start looking for a window being opened, right? So two different people experiencing the exact same thing, two different belief structures. One believes in spirits, one doesn't. One's looking for any information that oh, I told you it was a spirit, it has to be because it can't be anything else. And then there's the other person who's like, well, it can't be a spirit, it has to be something else. Which one's right and which one's wrong? Neither of them are necessarily right or wrong, right? What they're really trying to understand, or what they're really trying to accomplish here, is having that information turn into information more concrete. But they're both reducing that by saying, instead of saying this is real and fake and then maybe a maybe in between, they say, well, there's no way for this. So the brain can't even comprehend or let alone come up with other information. It has to be aligned to your ego or your knowledge or your understanding. It has to be. And your brain will hallucinate that reality. So who's right and wrong? You're both going through the same similar hallucinations. But neither of you are really going to understand if one of you's on this side of the spectrum, one of you's on this side of the spectrum, and neither of you are going to look for potentials and variables. You felt a brush go by you, and you're the spirit ghost believer. Well, you're not going to look for that window that's open. You're not going to look for that fan. You're not going to look for anything. You're not even going to understand how the butterfly effect works, right? Like you flick something, I don't know, the butterfly effect, right? You're not even going to understand the butterfly effect. You're not going to understand how there's many ways to make that brush feeling happen. And, oh, I felt like something was there. But the other person's like, no, I didn't feel like something was there. It just felt like wind. Well, they're having two different experiences based on the same experience, what is supposed to be the same experience. But they're neither of them are getting down to the main problem because they are incapable of understanding why they felt this brush. One person has to say there has to be spirits. One person says that there has to be a window open. And neither of them truly are going to ever understand because they're not open-minded. A lot of people claim to be open-minded, but then when you talk to them, they are quick to react, their ego gets involved. The reason is that your biases or your understanding of reality trumps reality. Because reality, if you're going to succumb to literally just reality, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to understand a lot. And you're going to be able to master the world around you. But if you are not going to accept certain information, you're never going to understand that. How many variables there were. You're not going to understand how many potentials there were. And you're almost always going to be wrong. And your wrongness is your hallucination of reality. So the same person who believes ghosts exist because everything is going to make them feel like ghosts exist. You felt that brush? Oh, when I have other people here and I tell them about it, they start getting that feeling too. Oh, is there a ghost here? Because you have opened their mind to only your possibility. And therefore, your possibility or how you understand the world and how you communicate that to others, that's all they're going to know too. Hey, I have a ghost. This person might be, like, you have a ghost? That's weird. Oh, I feel a ghost. Oh, now it's dark and it's scary. Oh, is there a ghost in here? You are making something into reality that you have hallucinated and you have created into reality. You can call it an egregore. But ultimately, the world is your oyster. And if you want to know what you want to do in life and what you truly want to do instead of like what you want to do just based on, I want to do this as a job that sounds fun, or I make more money doing this. If you want to truly understand what it is that you want to do, you're going to have to go and do those things. If you want to be, it's better to go under general contracting, right, than to just become a painter. Because if you become a painter, you might get really good at painting, right? But that's all you understand about contracting is your painting job, right? What happens when you are doing general construction or whatever? You might learn some about painting. You'll learn some about concrete. You'll know some about tiling. You'll know some about plumbing and electrical. You'll know a little bit about everything. And then you can be like, I like this more than this. I prefer doing this than this. Which, until you do those things, it's only a belief structure. Right? It's only a low form of understanding, which is a hallucination. A lot of these college kids. Tell me, 98% of all 18-year-olds get into a job they don't want, but they think they want it. My parents was this, so I'm going to be this. Or I like this, but you've never done it. But I like doing this. I want to do that. Or they'll get degrees in bullshit that isn't going to be rewarding because they don't understand what they're actually doing. Almost no 18-year-old does. I'm 35 years old. I don't even know what I want to do in life. I know a lot of things I want to do, but I don't know which profession exactly. And I'm 35, and I think about it every day. I'm like, oh, I like that idea. I like this idea. If I can do this or do that, I would really enjoy working in this profession. But an 18-year-old has no idea. So then they go and get a degree, or they get their high school diploma, then they go to get a degree. They waste all this time and energy and money into something that isn't rewarding them. You go to culinary school, and then first month that you're out and you get a job and you think you're making good money, and you're like, man, I didn't know it was going to be like this. This is a shitty job. Or you might like it, but either way. Most people don't like their job that they go into right after their degree. Sometimes it takes them a little bit of a while, but the point is, isn't it better to know a lot about everything, or a little bit about everything? So instead of learning a lot about one thing, because if you're learning a lot about one thing, remember all those variables and all those webs of ideas that can come out? That's not going to be there. Now you're going to be looking for a painter job, your next job, because you're probably not qualified for another profession, or two, you don't understand that profession enough to try to get into it. So the point is that I'm getting at is that to truly understand is everything, right? Like, you have to know a little bit about everything. Your mental and physical and spiritual health has a role to do with it. Your understanding of the world has something to do with it. Your ego has something to do with it. What you are willing to tolerate has something to do with it. And the only way that you can really, really better your life or go through the avenue in which you want to go, whatever path in your life, in order to really, truly do it, you need to understand what you're doing and understand your goals and your dreams. And on top of that, and most importantly, you need, more than anything, you need to master yourself and around you. That's essentially what I'm trying to say in this video. You are giving up information every day that you're not allowing to even come into your brain, because that information, you have biases, you have understandings. And instead of this branching out into infinity of ideas, one idea turning into infinite ideas, and then you go through all the variables and what ifs and whatever, Instead of doing that, what are you going to do? You're not, that one idea is going to be stagnant. And then it's only going to, the only few branches coming off based on your biases and your understandings. And, you know, we're never going to grow if you're going to keep letting that information, that first thing that comes to your mind, something brushed on my back. Immediately, if you say immediately, that's ghosts. You have taken trillions of potential variables out of the equation that you are unable to fathom or comprehend because you have created biases or egos that said that's got to be a ghost, and I felt the ghost. And but if the other person might go and find a window open, a little draft, like, and who's right and who's wrong? And the only way you can really come to a valid conclusion, rather than, we're all hallucinating, but a valid hallucination conclusion, is to understand more variables. Understand what it is that you're talking about. If you only believe in ghosts, that's all you're going to get. And you'll never get farther. That woman, I almost said too many variables in that, but there's a woman that is a Catholic. And she sees the Mother Mary everywhere she goes, because in church one day, the pastor really hit home, or the priest really hit home for her, and now she's seeing baby Jesus everywhere, and Mother Mary, and she's praying to Mother Mary, and she's seeing this everywhere she goes. Well, because that's the only one information and experience that you're allowing. You're not allowing to understand the universe. You're not understanding your powers. You're not understanding how you relate to the information. You're not also showing how, or understanding how you relate to the world around you or others. And if you're not relating, then you are blocking. You are blocking understanding. You are blocking your relationships. Let's say you're a guy and let's say you like Pornhub, right? And you love porn and you love naked women, and you're like, you have a thing. Let's say you have a fetish. Your fetish, let's say you like black girls, right? If you like black girls in your fetish, well, what happens when the girl of your dream shows up and she's Latino? What's going to happen? You're going to feel like, I don't really like Latinos. I have a thing for black girls. But do you really? You have a thing for women because you have a chemistry, you have hormones going on in you, and you have semen, and these things develop into what's known as you being horny, your boner, blood flow going to those parts. And this is based on your mind. This is based on the chemical excretions of serotonin to testosterone to whatever, right? And to understand these things, you need to stop saying, I can only... Because in your brain, you have already convinced yourself you only like black women, right? Like, that's your fetish. That's the thing that gets you off. But duh, that Latino chick can get you off just as easy. There's just something you got to change a little bit in your brain. You need to accept. You need to be open-minded. You got to stop saying, I'm into this, and this is the only thing that can get me off. Right? Like, I made a video on masturbation and pornography and how weak of a man that makes you. You're lowering your testosterone. You're less able to talk to women, etc. So there becomes like how much do you master the world around you? How much did you master your world, your universe? How much do you control yourself in the world around you? Because the more you can control yourself, and the more you are open to new information, the better the information becomes. If, the guy in your third grade history class says Hitler killed 6 million Jews, are you going to be the person that's opened the information, or that was the information, now I got to regurgitate that on command? Because if that's the case, you're not going to understand history. You're not going to be that third grader that lifts his arm in the air. Yeah, I got a question. How did this one man kill 6 million other men? And then the teacher goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe this person thought. This person had a brain. Oh my God, I don't even know how to answer that." Because, yeah, you're right. Hitler didn't kill 6 million Jews. That one man has no proof of ever killing a Jew. But his policies and this and. Okay, now you're understanding because now we're getting to better information. You saying Hitler killed 6 million Jews is not only a blatant lie, it distracts you and it prevents you from ever understanding the truth or other variables of that information. If a textbook says, for example, let's say mathematics, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Sure, if there's no variables, if there's only 1 plus 1. But if me and a woman get together one night, and 9 months later, we might have 1 plus 1 equal 3. Do you understand how that variable changed? Do you understand how there's no certainties, there's no determined uh, conclusions? It's only based on your hallucinations, based on your understandings, based on your ego, based on many things, how you understand the world, etc. And you are going to reduce and prevent good information oftentimes if you are just going to regurgitate information on command and say, that's the truth, I don't want to learn anything more, I don't want to understand anything more. But if you understand everything, the way that you understand everything is by learning more. That one thought, you didn't stop there. It branched out. It became a blossomed flower. And now that flower turned into everything. Your lifestyles, your happiness, your joy. You master reality. When Bruce Lee said, "Be water, my friends," and when water flows, it becomes the thing that it flows into. If it goes into a cup, it becomes the mold of the cup. Well, that's you every day. You're being pushed around and put into cups every single day. Whether that's your pastor, the guy on TV, the guy in the podium that represents the government called a president. When these people tell you something and you just say that's true, you are reducing the ability to understand reality because you are changing that one. Joe Biden says, wear mask, stay 6 feet away, there's a scary virus. Well, now that one piece of information can blossom into tons of information based on that understanding. But is it even true? Are you even putting out new information that is totally false that you're believing? And then now, when that branches out, that information branches out, and now you're on a branch, light years away now because of how far that information went. That could all be just fake information that you're just coming up with. And it's not based on reality. But if you have tons of variables and you have no limit to those variables that you'll accept, then you can start placing things in managing the files, managing the information. This is true, for sure. Now information is going to base on that. This is false, for sure. Now we're going to neglect all information on that. But here is a potential for being right, but also has a potential for being wrong. So we'll put this in this category and make it alive still. You, just by putting a fake, a true, and a maybe, and then being able to put those in different variables and different information based on those things, then your variables become limitless. Then you start to truly understand. But if you just say, the Bible's fake, so all that's fake because I believe it to be fake, you're not going to understand anything that the wisdom of the Bible will grant you. You don't understand because you don't believe it. But if you believe it, then all of a sudden you get more extra powers. Funny how that works. You put this into reality instead of fiction, then all of a sudden you get new superpowers and you understand the world more. But if you put, the Bible in fake, then you can't take anything from that. You will never get information from that. And then you might surrender to government, and you might surrender to other gods instead of the God that. Never mind. I think you guys understand what I'm getting at. Put your information in different filing mechanisms. True is true with a potential for being wrong, right? Like, you can do that. Um, if you believe the government's good for you, well, the only thing that information you'll accept is good information based on the government, and you'll neglect all that bad stuff, and it'll be one ear and out the other whenever it arrives to your brain. See, you'll have that one information. Joe Biden said, "Say 6 feet away, there's a virus around," and then you go, "Well, if I obey this, and if I don't obey it," and all this new information comes out and stems out and webs out and branches out. And that's what information is. It's a web. It's an endless ether of information which you can produce and alter into knowledge. This video could last forever, so let's stop it there. I'm gonna go smoke my blunt. Hope you guys got something out of this video. Again, I can make this into a very, very, very long video, but I'd rather not. Understand those things that you want in life. There's a lot of things that you need to master in life. One of those main things is how you file information, how you understand information, and then you can master that information. And if you just say, "Well, I want to be a firefighter," how do you know that you want to be a firefighter? I saw it on TV and my cartoon channel as a kid. People adore them. They look up to them. They appreciate them. They save lives, etc. Right? But then when you actually do it, maybe you don't like it. See, this is why you need to understand instead of surrendering the ability to understand. That's enough for this video. Stay tuned for more content. Plenty more coming. It's Opex, guys. I'm out.